Sarah, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. This is the busy season and prepping for the busy season for you. What is taking up most of your time these days?
Right now, elm pruning is huge. The last day to prune elms is March 31st. So this is your last weekend if you're thinking about doing any trimming to elms in your own yard. And we're busy trying to prune some city elm trees as well. So we have a lot of them on the boulevard, and we're not allowed to prune them until September 1st to help prevent Dutch elm disease.
Yeah, it is a constant battle against that disease, right? And we know we have lost city trees. Every year we lose a few, right?
Right. And so we have had, consistent cases throughout the city, so we're trying to keep it under control. So we really want to respect that pruning ban. And also very importantly, we want to make sure we're not storing any elm wood. So if people are thinking about pruning elm trees, maybe going to go out this weekend and do like even just a little bit of pruning, make sure you dispose of that wood at the landfill, or if you have a fire pit that you can burn it in and it's just a little bit, you can do that as well, but it does have to be burned right away or taken to the landfill with the Elmwood disposal permit that you can get from Parks and Rec.
That's right. So yeah, we can get the landfill fee waived for the elm branches. We just need to get that permit. How do we get that? You said from Parks and Recs. We just give Parks and Rec a call.
Yep, give us a call or send us an email, or you can even come into City Hall. We're open 11 till 3, and we'll talk you through the process, the information we need, and then you'll take that permit once we've got all the information and it's approved, and show it to the landfill, and then they'll let you in for free.
Okay, and we do have more information on Dutch elm disease and pruning on the city's website. In Parks and Recreation, there is a trees tab you can click on that will take you to the information that you need there. Some other tree things to talk about, including tree banding.
Yes, that's right. So tree banding is for cankerworms, which are those caterpillars that eat the leaves off the trees in spring. Usually we really notice them in June, but right now the spring cankerworms are starting to think about waking up. Maybe they've started a little bit already, depending on the exposure. So right now is a great time to go out and fix up any tree bands you might have applied in the fall, or even put ones on if you missed doing it in the fall. So you want to make sure that that saran wrap or whatever plastic you've used is nice and tight on there, and you want to re-grease it, pick off any leaves that the cankerworms could use as bridges to get over the grease, and then you want to leave those on until late May to make sure that you catch any cankerworms trying to sneak up your tree to lay eggs.
Okay. Black knot is another issue we want to address.
Yeah, that's right. So early spring is when a lot of things wake up, and before the trees even really get going, the black knot gets going. So it looks like a black chunk, usually on the smallest twigs of the tree, and it affects mostly maydays and chokecherries, but it can infect any member of that plant family. So it includes all cherries, plums, apricots, a couple of our ornamental shrubs that we have. Very easy to recognize this time of year because there are no leaves, but the black knot is really obvious as it's quite a big swelling, and you want to make sure you're cutting all of that out and disposing of it right away. It's definitely not something you want to leave lying around, as the spores fly around in early spring and just as the leaves are coming out and infect new branches, which will then get the disease next year.
Yeah, can it kill the whole tree? Black if it's untreated?
Yeah, if it's untreated, it can, especially if you have a susceptible tree. All trees are a little bit different, so some are, a little more resistant and able to fight it off than others. But definitely it can kill a tree if you leave it unchecked, especially if it manages to get into the trunk. So I said it's usually on the twigs, but it can get into the larger branches. And once it's there, you really can't do a whole lot because you can't cut the whole trunk off without removing the tree.
We are a couple months away from flower season, from seeing, flowers planted around the city of Moose Jaw, where we typically would plant them with our crews. But I suspect we've got all of our plants ordered and just kind of waiting for them to arrive and the weather to be right for getting them in the ground.
Yep, that's right. So all our plants are ordered for the spring, and some of them are already growing in the greenhouses, and we'll be starting to plant those weather dependent, that very last week of May, first week of June.
Okay, that's great. And the edible garden, that coming back in Crescent Park?
It is, yes. It was very popular last year. People really liked seeing it, so we have brought it back. It's going to be that same location by the tennis court, and we've changed up what's in it. a little bit, just based on how things did last year and what was popular. So you can expect a very colorful show of veggies from there again this year.
And remind us where those veggies go.
So those veggies, actually last year they got picked by the community. So whoever wanted them could come sample them, and they did, which was great. But if we do have any leftovers, we will donate them to our local charities like the Food Bank and Hunger and Moose Jaw.
No, it's a great idea. So looking forward to seeing that again this year. As people are getting ready for spring, popular item or items that people like to get are our rain barrels. And also our compost bins. Let's start talking about the rain barrels. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's a barrel you can set up to catch all the rainwater, and of course then use that rainwater back into your garden or plants or anything like that, right?
Right. So the rain barrels are best if you set them up at the end of an eaves trough, where you have the downspout to catch that water. Some people I've seen get really elaborate and have systems with multiple rain barrels. You don't need to get very fancy with them. Basically anything that's going to hold water will do. And then that's a great water source for your plants or your compost bin, because actually compost does need to be watered, especially on the prairies where it's quite dry, in order for it to actually compost. Those organisms need that moisture. So they go together really well. And that rainwater already is collecting some nutrients. Usually there's a bit of the leaves in your gutters or whatever, and it actually picks up some nutrients there. So it's very, very good for your plants and your compost.
And here at the city, we do have subsidized rain barrels and compost bins that you can get. And as far as composting goes, Sarah, it is something that may seem intimidating to some to start compost. They might want to start, but I really don't know how. Not terribly difficult, right? Once you kind of get some real basic instruction.
That's right. I mean, for the most part, you want to make sure you mix browns and greens. So as it sort of suggests, browns are things that are brown. The most popular is fallen leaves, but you can also do like old grass clippings or shredded newspaper or some other kind of paper that doesn't have a glossy finish. And then greens are basically anything that's green, so fresh lawn clippings, or if you're deadheading flowers or kitchen scraps like peelings off potatoes and carrots and that kind of stuff can all go in the compost bin. Usually you want to have a little bit more of the brown than the green. About a 60-40 split seems to work well around here. Keep that moist, stir it up maybe once a week or so, and off you go. And the Waste Reduction Council has lots of great information. It's linked to on the website, moosjaw.ca/composting. Great place to start if you're brand new to the concept.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned the SWRC has a number of really great instructional videos, one of which we do have posted on the website, as you just mentioned there, and then the links to all the rest of them can also be found on our website. So anything else we haven't touched on that's important as far as horticulture in the city of Moose Jaw?
I think we've touched on pretty much everything there is. I mean, it is still March right now, so things are just starting to wake up. We're just starting to really think about spring. So we do have some time, lots of time to plan this year. But it's nice. So it's a great time to start getting out there, do some yard cleanup, do a little pruning, just enjoy the weather.
Okay. Well, Sarah Regent, our city horticulturist, I know we're going to talk to you lots in the near future. Beautification, among other things, will be up next, probably the next time we say hi to you. So thanks for this and have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.